You would stop and you would ask them for ID, and you'd be on an intelligence-driven operation, which is what these ICE raids are. They're intelligence.
But if you were to say a guy's wearing a red shirt, you would say the guy's wearing a red shirt and a purple baseball hat. You would be able to give that description. But can you give a description of what a migrant looks like? Can you give a description of what a migrant looks like?
We need to deploy ICE officers to stop people and ask them, and they go on intelligence.
I reclaim my time. You clearly don't want to answer my question, and that's unfortunate because the American people want to know these answers.
Nunoclock Newz. Don't look like a hoodlum. I look comfortable. Get comfortable with me, alright? Yo. No, I was dealing with issues on ICE, things of that nature. And look how deep it's getting ready to get. Because I was talking about FEMA as well.
We want to know. I've got a quick video I want to show before my time runs. Please.
Look at this. This is a stunning video from Louisiana. You hear that woman cry out. She's a 23-year-old running down the street away from the masked agents who are chasing her, repeating that she is a U.S.-born citizen, saying,
Stop. This is a United States citizen who's running away from ICE agents who, when she gets to her house and her husband comes out, they stop the chase. They clearly weren't chasing her for that. They appear to have been doing something nefarious. You know why we can't tell the difference? Because they wear masks and they don't identify themselves as agents. That's a problem.
What was the discussion at this congressional hearing? And I don't talk about politics. I'm talking about the FEMA. Let's talk about the issues that's going on in Minnesota. And then trying to build on solutions. Now, there's a black woman with glasses that was sitting behind the table, the main table. And she was questioning, I guess the Secretary of State or whoever that was sitting at the bottom panel, defending herself. Now, the woman sitting at the panel was a black woman. I'm gonna tell you something, black woman. It was totally unprofessional the way you was cutting off her answers when you were the one asking the questions. That's a weakness in our culture, all across the board. All across the board.
You would stop and you would ask them for ID, and you'd be on an intelligence-driven operation, which is what these ICE raids are. They're intelligence.
But if you were to say a guy's wearing a red shirt, you would say the guy's wearing a red shirt and a purple baseball hat. You would be able to give that description. But can you give a description of what a migrant looks like? Can you give a description of what a migrant looks like?
We need to deploy ICE officers to stop people and ask them, and they go on intelligence.
I reclaim my time. You clearly don't want to answer my question, and that's unfortunate because the American people want to know these answers.
So if it's happening at Congress, what the fuck do we expect out of a cooking show? So-called reality show. Fat Joe with all his cap shit. We are totally unprofessional in the way we move. And they look for that with us. Just to say that that's how niggas behave. Because that's what they're going to say about you right after this meeting. Look at them. Look at them. You get a one fucking seat and that's the arrogance we gotta fucking accept.
Have you identified with the FBI that Antifa is made of?
Well, the investigations are active.
So you wouldn't come to this committee and say something you can't prove. I know you wouldn't do that. But you did. Madam Secretary, you and the gentleman from NCTC reference the unfortunate accident that occurred with the National Guardsman being killed.
You think that was an unfortunate accident?
I mean,
It was a terrorist attack.
Wait. Look, I'll get it straight. Then you can.
He shot our National Guardsman in the head.
Look, Mr. Chairman, will you direct the witness to allow me to ask my question?
You like, yeah, we got a right of freedom of speech. What are you saying with it? See? This is what I learned. And I'm gonna share this with y'all. Y'all better learn this for the rest of your life. You didn't hear this from Umar Johnson and none of these fucking clowns acting like they doing something for black people. But they ain't doing nothing but taking your dollar. Alright? The way you piss them off is to remain professional. You break them out of character. Show them what they really are with abusing their power, with abusing their authority. Because in all actuality, they could throw the narrative, it ain't nobody but you abusing your authority. Because your black ass is sitting up there in the hot seat.
It was an unfortunate situation, but you blamed it solely on Joe Biden. I want you to know who approved the asylum application for this same person.
Mr. Thompson, this individual that came into the country.
No, I want to know who approved.
Congressman Thompson, I want you to understand when this individual came into the country, he came under
I'm not going to let you.
Evacuation of Afghanistan under Operation Allies Welcome, was thoroughly vetted by the Biden administration at that point in time, allowed into our country, and then was never followed up. I want to remind everybody in Congress.
Reclaim my time.
We follow the law. And every asylum is supposed to have a check-in every single year, and the Biden administration failed to do that. They vetted this individual, allowed them into our country, and did not do due diligence.
Witness will allow the gentleman to ask his question.
Yes or no? Who approved the asylum claim?
The application on the asylum was thoroughly filled out by information that was gathered by the Biden administration.
So the Biden administration approved the asylum.
The asylum application was put into place under the rules established by the Biden administration.
Reclaiming my time. I don't want to charge perjury charges against you, but I'm of the opinion that the Trump administration, DHS, your DHS, approved the asylum application.
The asylum application moved forward under all of the information and vetting processes that were put in place under the Biden administration, which is when vetting happened. And that's what President Trump has changed. Under President Trump's administration.
Reclaim my time again.
When
it's obvious you don't want to answer the question. Mr. Kent, you want a shot at it?
The individual was vetted to serve as a soldier in Afghanistan, and that vetting standard was used by the Biden administration as a ruse to bring him here. Had we followed the standard operating procedures for special immigrant visas, that individual and none of the Allies Welcome people would have come to America. That's on Joe Biden.
Gentleman's time has expired.
That was the answer.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. That was a murder that took place in D.C. It was not an unfortunate incident. And those comments are effing disrespectful.
And that's a fact. Yeah, I know about John Hanson and all. I know about the 8 presidents before the other shit. Alright? We talking about George Washington. Alright? I know about all that. What are we doing with our knowledge? As soon as we get a little seat or something, you want to run your mouth and be arrogant like a fucking rapper. We gotta grow up. Growing up starts now. And that's a Black history fact. Alright, baby? So in the future, when you're doing what you do, sitting in that hot seat, the way to G-check them is to always keep your composure while you're bringing them out the character you think they are. But here's where you fucking up again. They not the ones sitting outside doing that dumb shit. So how do you bring out that they're green lighting and condoning that behavior? Only way to do that is to remain professional. No matter how emotional you're getting through the answers that you don't want to believe is the truth. What you believe and what are facts are two different things. And sometimes you could bring out the facts. You stop running your mouth based on what you believe. That you believe. You learn a lot from a dummy. While I'm sitting in houses, right? And the only brother at these places. And then either I had to stop going or the site gets shut down. Because they don't want us there on their property. What do I do? Oh, yeah, they don't want black people. Oh, y'all don't want niggas. Y'all got us rolled off with all that shit. Y'all the one that did us with slavery. Nigga have right beef, but going about it wrong. The way I'm still being unprofessional and got them looking at us exactly why they don't want us on their property. We don't have property. Therefore, we can kill that discussion right there. Nor do we do business with each other. Unless it's illegal. It's sad, man, but it's just a fact. Word. Everything is some negative shit. We got no businesses. We ain't got no stores. We got men making our sandwiches instead of women. Yeah, I said it. What? Man getting his food chefed by another man and think he coming home straight. And then wonder why your kids got this wrong energy because they ain't getting no home-cooked meals from the love of the one that brought them into this fucking world. Because you too busy getting them the fast food cooked by men, playing with their ass, jerking off and shit like that. The fuck is wrong with y'all? Ain't nothing better than a home-cooked meal. Trust me, that youngster appreciate that shit when he know he got that good meal to come home to. He ain't thinking about fucking up with them other niggas. What? Back to the Congress. Black woman. We gotta do better, especially when we in them seats like that. We got all the entertainers going through the hot seat. Ain't no telling what's going on with Jigga Man. And then on a different note, I feel what you're saying because I feel the same way dealing with what happened to Miss Good, Brother Alex Pretty, and to that father and that little 5-year-old boy. Yeah, feeling all that to where you feel like it's an abuse of power. But how are we addressing these situations to where we look like we abusing our position of power? You dig? Come on, man. Word. See, and I know y'all going back to thinking about that other stuff where I just fell back so other brothers could still eat. What they not supposed to eat because I ain't eating. I ain't eat, nobody eat. That's exactly how niggas think. And that's exactly why we still 20 steps behind, but mentally 1,000 steps ahead.
He has 47 arrests.